particularly the people who are intending on standing for half an hour. I greatly appreciate your commitment to hopefully being as lazy and successful as possible, which is the aim of my talk today. I'm reasonable endeavors live subtitling, but it is Wi-Fi dependent, so apologies if it's a little bit slow. So here today to talk about what projects we can do that can hopefully have some success and quickly with a minimum of effort inside our organizations that use AI, so you can be a business that says, yes, we have AI. Little bit about me before we start. Hi, I'm Steph. Come see me afterwards if you want to chat. I'm a data scientist by trade, and I've just set up Nightingale HQ, so we're going to be helping businesses work out what projects they need to start, where their gaps are, things like that. And I enjoy coming around and talking to people, so Microsoft give me some Azure credits and some recognition for how much I get up on stage and gabble at people. Nightingale HQ, we've got a bunch of blog posts on on what AI is behind the hype, what the marketing, like what you can do with marketing and AI and things like that. And because my slides are pretty minimal, if you go to this link, you can get a nice 28-page document for in detail today. You will also get a copy of the slides from the Big Data London website as well. So don't worry too much if you don't catch any of these slides as they go past. You can always get a copy later. So particularly good for the people who are standing. My 7 quick win AI projects are FAQ bots, doing accessible meetings, doing sales AI, productivity for knowledge workers, doing intelligent insights for every person, in-app intelligence, and social listening. So you've got the in-depth slide document, and you know the 7 ones. You could, if you want, you can walk away now without stressing too much about missing the rest of this material. Okay, so I'm going to go through each of these projects, explain what it is, why you would use it, when you should pick this as your first AI project, and a brief overview of the steps for implementation. So for FAQ bot, FAQ is frequently asked question. One of the things inside your frequently asked questions should be, what are the various TLAs or 3-letter acronyms your business uses? A glossary is a perfect thing to put in an FAQ bot. At a very basic level, an FAQ bot answers questions that your business already knows about. So this is the FAQ pages. Internally, it's things like, how do I reset my password? Where are the printers? How do I order more staplers? Things that people ask again and again, and usually have a standardized answer. The great thing about FAQ bots is they take stuff that's usually written down somewhere and turns it into something that cuts out a whole swathe of emails for people. It frees up a whole bunch of time and saves a lot of effort. It's also usually a very low or no code option. You can implement an FAQ bot without ever touching a single line of code, which makes it great as a proof of concept and way to trial chatbots. So the key use cases are internally, when you have frequent emails, as I said, where people are asking the same stuff again and again. Turn that into an FAQ bot that works in your company's Slack, replies to emails, but make it available. People can maintain it, and it saves a lot of effort. It's also great for people who need to be able to get answers to questions and can't call your call center. If your website is designed without usability in mind, it might be very difficult for somebody with a screen reader to search for an answer on your website. If your FAQ bot is integrated into Facebook, Facebook probably take a bit more care about accessibility than most of our developers do. And the Facebook Messenger could be a way of adding some accessibility to your solutions. It can be used with things like Amazon's contact center capability and Lex to actually automate away a load of boring customer service calls. So as well as it being text-based, you can start surfacing the data longer term with a text-to-speech solution and actually have your bot answering phone calls and answering the simple questions. This gives your customer services staff time to better answer the complicated stuff instead of being under pressure from trivial things. And finally, you can put it on your e-commerce sites and kind of put it actually present in shops and various things to help, again, just reduce those boring repeat questions. So when should you pick this project as your first AI project? There should be something repetitive with known pieces of information happening. So it might be how do I reset passwords? How do I book holiday? How do I take a meter reading? Those kind of things that people ask where the answer doesn't change all the time. Ideally, you'll have some sort of interactive chat solution already. If your company uses Slack or Microsoft Teams, you can put your FAQ bot right in there and people can ask questions without even having to navigate to some different solution. You should, inside your business, want standardized answers. I put that there because some businesses will want to keep quirky and unusual. If you want to be quirky and unusual, distilling common problems down to FAQs is probably going to meet some resistance. And you should have somewhere where the answers are written down. The Microsoft FAQ solution, QAMaker.io, will go and scrape websites, PDFs, CSVs, SharePoint sites, all sorts. But you should ideally have the answers somewhere rather than in someone's head. Work out what your goal is. Settle on the right tool. So I mentioned Microsoft Q&A Maker. There's a bunch of others, including startups, that you can use. Make sure you get your FAQs. There's a process of training the solution. So once you've loaded up your Q&As, your FAQs, you basically get a bunch of people to test it and ask questions in weird ways and associate them with the commonly known answers. Put this into production and then monitor for the types of questions that people are asking that you're not giving answers to. And start going through continuous improvement. Okay? So that's FAQ bots. Now let's talk about accessible meetings. We're going to talk about things like live captioning. There are a lot of hidden disabilities amongst the group, even here, right? So, and we all have temporary things that impact our ability to understand what's going on in meetings. I have a problem with background noise, so if I'm in a meeting room in a coffee if I'm in a meeting in a coffee shop, I start looking at people's lips like I might be potentially thinking of murdering them because I'm focusing so hard. So in situations where people have trouble with focus in meetings, viewing things that are on screen, or processing audio, we can put in a broad range of solutions that use AI to make people's lives better and more productive. So this is a great, this is also particularly good if you have a lot of international people inside your organization or clients. Because let me give this a quick changeover. I can now be presenting in English and having subtitles in French. It has a wide range of languages, including Welsh, so that we can communicate more effectively. Okay. I'm going to put it back to English to make life easier for people who are having trouble with background noise and things. So with things like PowerPoint and Google Slides, we can be real-time captioning our meetings. With a lot of devices as well, we can also be recording our meetings and automatically transcribing them. So we can have our video or our MP3 of our call. It can tag speakers when someone's talking and put what they say next to it. So we can start being able to search. We can review the meeting afterwards and save ourselves a lot of that, who said what were the actions. So we can also cut down on all that horrible stuff. So when we're talking about accessible meetings, you can be live captioning for people with audio issues or people with a language barrier. Our transcriptions allow us to work with people who are visually impaired. And we can also now, Microsoft Slides, when you start putting in an image, it'll use machine learning to put an alt text about what's happening in that image to make it easier for people to understand even the images inside our PowerPoints. And finally, it helps us work on an international scale. So any of these three are good reasons to try accessible meetings. Key success are you have meetings. That's a good first start. I mean, I'd love to work in a place that doesn't have meetings, but we expect them. If you have international meetings, these are a good criteria as well. And for a lot of the live captioning, it's internet dependent at the moment. So if your Wi-Fi is no good, live captioning probably isn't going to succeed very well. So the way to implement this, work out what the needs are, who you can best help inside your organization, have a good play with PowerPoint, and once you've set a standard for what a good meeting looks like, actually educate people. You can do screen recordings in PowerPoint, so make a screen recording of making accessible PowerPoints. You can index the recordings with solutions like Microsoft Stream to be able to create a repository of videos inside your organization that is searchable with transcripts. And then see what the uptake is. Ask people what their feedback is, how it can be improved. Okay. Our sales processes are the things that usually if we can optimize, we can make a huge amount of money with. Salespeople are often resistant to processes, but having worked with consultancies where I've helped them put in CRM solutions and processes, this ups conversion a radical amount. Because if you've got a CRM solution, a customer relationship management platform, you never miss that email that you were meant to follow up on. And dropped leads are one of the simplest things that we can solve inside our sales process. So with Sales AI, we can improve our forecasting. Wouldn't it be nice to know whether we were really on target or whether we were just being super positive about our potential customers this month? Because if we weren't, we wouldn't get as much commission. So we can use our historic data to get better at forecasting. And we can get insight into customers based on verticals, past behavior, and all sorts to improve the sales process. So we can get targeted advice as we're going along through the sales funnel to help us sell better. And I ran a consultancy before my startup. As a solo consultant, I definitely want to be able to sell better. So the key use cases for when this is valuable for you: when you're doing forecasts, when you have a process that you would like to optimize, and when you have some decent historical data. You can start being able to predict things down to who's going to pay their invoices late, who's going to wait until the last minute to try and strong-arm you into a lower amount for the contract renewal. So the criteria for this, basically you need a CRM solution because you got to have data, and all these sales AI solutions integrate into Dynamics or Salesforce or HubSpot. You need something, and it's most beneficial if you have at least 2 salespeople. If nothing else, you need one to trial the process and one in a control group so that you can show how much more commission somebody gets if they do this solution. So set the goal. Is it improved conversion? Is it better understanding of the process? Assess the data quality. When people start realizing that they put better data into their CRM solution and they get better advice that helps them convert more, usually data quality all of a sudden goes up, but it's good to know how bad it is at the beginning. Add the feature. It can usually just be bought in Dynamics and Salesforce. Implement it, and then give it a good test. Okay. Who here spends most of their day on their computer? Right? Yep. We've got emails, Slack, Facebook, Twitter. We have so many things pinging us, and then we fit all of those things usually around way too many meetings. This makes for a very unproductive knowledge worker. With insight into how our day goes, we can start making targeted actions like blocking out specific times in our schedule, by better ranking emails automatically so we only respond to the ones that actually matter. And then we can hide the other ones and worry less about them. So we can be more productive with a bunch of the AI productivity stuff inside our Office solutions, whether G Suite or Microsoft. And it helps us at a high level across the organization manage workload. If somebody is having to send 500 emails a day, they're a great candidate for some process automation for a different piece of AI. So we can get a view as to how different departments and different networks inside our group, inside our organizations are behaving. So look at these. If you want to reduce waste inside your day and inside your company, if you want to be able to do things like discover relevant files and contacts around the organization, I like working in small businesses, but if you've got 200 to 100,000 people, how do you find the right person to talk to about a problem? Microsoft Graph and a whole bunch of other solutions like it are enabling us to discover relevant people. And we can also start looking at measuring productivity inside our organization. Give these things a go if you have a standard Office solution and you're interested in improving productivity. Work out which tool you already have. Effectively Google how those productivity solutions work. As you start turning these solutions on, it'll actually start measuring your productivity, or at least things like where do you spend the most time during your day? And then as it starts giving you recommendations across the whole organization, you can start seeing gains in productivity. So our business intelligence tools are way cleverer these days than they used to be. We're able to, in things like Power BI, take some of our data and actually run automated machine learning on it to work out things like what are the key drivers in sales? What behavior or what thing in our data has had a step change in the past few months? We can help with a bit of training. We can get people using their BI solutions to start answering questions using machine learning. And they don't have to know machine learning. We can vet the way that Microsoft does these things, or Tableau, but still get better quality business outcomes. It'll no longer be the average is 5% higher this month, we made a difference. It'll be the average seasonally is always 5% higher this month. You had no real impact. So no, you don't get paid more. So we can do a lot with our insights. We can get more information. We can remove the generation and consumption of lots of static reports. So I hated making reporting services reports and having to go through a 6-week process to add a column to a report for somebody. With better, more modern solutions, people have that data and it's available. They can answer questions immediately. No wait for them, no boring work for me. It saves time, and when we get the answers sooner, we can make money sooner. And by consolidating the data and being able to discover new relevant pieces of information, we can help connect things up and get better insights. So do this if everything is in your data warehouse, you're probably in quite a mature reporting position. You might not need to invest in something like Power BI immediately. If you've got lots of disparate data all over the place, these solutions can help. If you want to be focused on seeing how many better, sooner, more quality decisions you can make, this is valuable. And yeah, are you drowning in more data than your business intelligence and data science teams could ever possibly process? Get more boots on the ground. Distribute the work. So identify the data sources, set some goals like we want to save X amount of hours from the sales team's week where they were making PowerPoints of performance of their customers. We just want them to be able to look them up. Train them in how to do that. In almost all of these solutions, education is vital. We often forget how much people are unwilling to click through every single menu item and see what it does, because people are mostly scared of breaking things. People don't like learning new tools because there is risk when they do, or they have been told not to. So education is key. And publish some case studies. When somebody goes, I just found this answer, and shows people how they did it, other people start doing that. So celebrate that success. Okay. With our business applications, so things that we provide to the end users or internal for things like expense reporting and stuff, we can use AI to help make these more clever and give an improved user experience. You'll want to use these things like cognitive services, so off-the-shelf APIs or customizable versions, to do things like image recognition or real-time authentication of people. If you want to be able to process text or speech, if you want to improve people's search experience, and if you want to smooth their process through their use of the application. You can save them having to do repetitive actions by using machine learning to set defaults for them based on their behavior. Do this if you have an app. Okay. So choose the features that can help you. Go look at the different, primarily the cloud vendors are the ones excelling in the cognitive services that you can benefit from. Do a proof of concept to incorporate that into the application, and have some plan to measure the impact on your bottom line. The final area that we can use AI quite quickly with is in marketing, and that's in social listening. If you've got like 5 Twitter accounts for a company or hundreds of thousands of followers, the mentions and things get overwhelming. Your marketing team gets bigger as they try to basically read Twitter. What we can do with social listening is be able to process that feed and highlight only the things that are relevant for attention. And we can use things like optimization techniques to improve how people in marketing spend money. So the key use cases are detecting new leads. So can we find people talking about us but not actually mentioning us directly? We can get involved in conversations where we can add benefits. We can identify seasonal trends that help us with marketing campaigns. And we can grow the network and followers on our organization. So this is only worthwhile if your company has a decent amount of social going on. If you've only got 100 followers for your company account, don't do this. Spend your time getting followers. This works in conjunction with marketing, help them deliver their tasks. So those are our 7 quick win projects. Hopefully you've met some of those criteria and have an effective solution to pick. So thank you very much. on social listening. I'm listening on Twitter. And you can get a nice long-form guide with links to software and project plans and recommended ROI measures and stuff on that link. So thank you all very much. I really appreciate it, especially if you stood for 30 minutes. That is awesome. Thank you all very much.